Community Highlights. Another local exclusive from Southeastern Michigan's news and information station, MonroeCountyRadio.com.
This is our town, the place we call home.
Welcome to This Is Our Town with Jeff Yorkey, a local public affairs presentation on MonroeCountyRadio.com. Brought to you by Allen Chevrolet Cadillac. All roads lead to Chevrolet. Here's Jeff Yorkey.
Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of This Is Our Town. I'm Jeff Yorkey. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. And, hey, we got a special guest in our town today. We've got the new superintendent at Jefferson Schools, Nelson Henry. Is that right? I got that right?
Yes, Jeff, got it right.
All right. So, Nelson, tell me a little bit. This is pretty exciting. How long you been on the job now?
6 weeks, so it's great to be in Bear Country, Jeff.
Great to be in Bear Country. Hey, man, it's great to have you. You know, we talked a little bit before you came on the show, and we're going to talk about the future of Bear Country in a little bit. But first, I want to talk a little bit about how you got here. So tell folks, first of all, where are you from?
Absolutely. So, Nelson Henry, superintendent of Jefferson Schools, my 24th year, finishing my 24th year in education. I was telling some teachers today, the end of the school year never gets boring and never gets old. So the school year ends tomorrow, and I look for teachers to be waving at buses and hopefully not running buses over, trying to get out of the parking lot themselves. But this is my sixth different school districts, second state that I've been in, Michigan and Georgia. So, hey, I've done everything from the classroom to being an elementary school principal, middle school principal, high school principal, union president, central office employee, taught for a university and community college, and now serving as superintendent.
Really?
So I'm grateful to be here.
So were you ever in the trenches teaching, or were you always in administration?
Yeah, so I definitely was in the trenches teaching. It's almost like a 50-50 split. So 12 years were in the classroom, 12 years have been in administration.
Now, when you were teaching, what were you, first of all, high school?
So I taught elementary school.
Elementary.
All my teaching came from elementary school, and then I skipped and went to the college level, but did administration at every level.
See, now that's cool. See, my wife is a teacher. She teaches at Custer in Monroe, and she's always been an elementary school teacher. And I know because I go to all the events, and I've been to her class many times. Mm-hmm. She taught down south for a few years herself, down in Louisiana, and it's a rarity to have men in the elementary realm. So what grades were you teaching?
Thoroughly enjoyed it. For the most part, I taught fifth grade. I taught first grade at some point, so it was
Did
fun.
You really?
Having first grade, about 30 first graders helped Mr. Henry, who was 6'4" for our viewers, to give you a visual, to help me get off the floor for carpet time. It was absolutely fun as they were pulling my arm for that, literally. But most of the time in fifth grade, and even now with some of the fifth graders who are 24, 25, 26, 27. One just graduated from law school a few weeks ago, and I posted on her wall on social media. Cool. I said, hey, I'm incredibly proud of you. And she sent me a message back and said, Mr. Henry, thank you so much. This means so much to me. I thought of your words almost like every day. Mm-hmm. And so it's just that rewarding factor that keeps me doing what I'm doing. And I bring that same passion to Jeffersons.
And I'm going to tell you, I have known Mr. Henry now, folks, for all of 5 minutes, and I can tell you he is a very patient man. And I know this because my wife, who is a elementary school teacher, and she tells me every day, she tells me about her day. And I usually do this. I usually go, you know what I would do? You want to know what I would do? And I get myself all angry, and I go, and then when I'm done, I go, man, I could never do your job. I don't know how you do your job. It is absolutely amazing. So, folks, if you are out there, I'm going to tell you right now, that educators are a special breed of people. You guys are the best in the world. And I know because I can tell you, even me, I'm 55 years old. I graduated from law school. I did all that stuff. I'm very proud of all the things I've accomplished. And I know how much of that stuff I owe to, I could name a half a dozen teachers right now and talk about the influence that they had on my life, and how important it was. And I can only imagine. And I can tell you got a charisma about yourself. I bet you that the kids, no matter what age they are going to see you at Jefferson, and they are going to respond.
I hope so. I think so thus far. even today. So I had a situation today. I was dealing with parent issues when I first got to work. And I'm so, okay, so before I get bogged down, let me go see some children and remember my why I do what I do. And so I went outside. I'm a nice distance away from our football complex, and the middle schoolers are outside having their end of the year field day. And I hear a student shout across the field, "Oh my God, there he is! There's Mr. Henry, there's our superintendent." And then all kinds of students started saying, and they're just the funniest ever. But I appreciated that. I mean, I'm not here trying to be impressive, but I definitely want to make an impression. I want to make a mark that will not be erased by every student, every staff member, every community stakeholder, whoever we have. I'm here to serve. So I'm glad to be here.
So how did you make the transition from first grade and fifth grade into administration? What was it that prompted you to want to do that?
So, a lot of people, they will get into administration for the sake of escaping the classroom.
Right.
And for me, I thoroughly enjoyed the classroom. But I also knew that the impact that I had in the classroom, I said, maybe I can take this to scale and do it at a building level.
Yes.
And then I was in a district, the district that I just came from, and I was there for about 3 years. And there was a period about a year and a half ago that I was a finalist for 2 superintendencies in like a 3-month period.
Oh, yeah.
And I pulled my staff to our auditorium, and I was a principal of a middle school at the time, and I pulled our staff in. And they all thought that I was telling them I was leaving.
Right.
And
sure.
I said, hey, I wanted to call you all together to tell you, I'm not leaving yet, but I wanted you to hear it directly from me why I applied for these 2 jobs, because I didn't want you to perceive I want to be anywhere but here.
Right.
It's the total opposite of that.
Yeah.
I want to be here, but I understand that I have a skill set that is larger than a building. It should be in a district. And so if I don't bet on me, who will? And so, they literally stood up and started clapping. And the wonderful people, I transitioned from that district a month ago when I came here and received a gift from them, an edible arrangement. And people don't do that. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care.
Right.
And I think that's what they saw, and I appreciate, that support.
So what was it when you were a first grade teacher? Did you start in first or fifth?
Started in fifth. I just happened to teach first for a very short period of time.
For a short period of time. So when you were most of your teacher experience came at the fifth grade level, right? So was there any one thing where you woke, you were at school one day and you said, maybe you went to, because I know they got you guys doing trainings and stuff like that. Was there a point where you said, you know what, I think that we should all be doing this, or this might be a better way of approaching things, and I think I'd like to be the guy that could incorporate those differences. Did you have like an epiphany like that, or was it just a long gradual? Hey, you know what? I kind of see how the big system works, and I think I could do it a little bit better.
I've always been the spokesperson, Jeff. So, that the crew, like, okay, Nelson has said, he'll do it.
Right.
So when we had ideas, we craft them together. But Nelson, you're going to be the spokesperson. So it was kind of, I was put up front, and that's been my purpose all of my life. That's been my platform all of my life. So it's just kind of comfortable and second nature to me.
Just sort of that natural leadership kind of thing.
I'm really an introvert. But my purpose has me talking. So when I'm doing this, my genius emerges. But when I don't have to talk, I'm nice. I'll take it all in. Take it all in. So.
No, I totally get it. So for you like, because and I'm drawing a lot on my wife's experiences as she relates them to me, and collaboration is a big deal. She collaborates to an extent, and it's really helped me in my profession, watching her do what she does and seeing how she does it. And it sounds to me that kind of has been your philosophy throughout the teaching component of your career. But because of your personality, you were sort of the guy that was sort of set up on the pedestal to say, hey, this is how we're going to do it. Is that fair to say?
That's kind of how it goes? I like the collaborative concept there that your wife employs and that I do too. I think that is one of the keys to success that will help us with success in Jefferson schools. I've interviewed all of the central office employees. I've interviewed all the principals. I've had one-on-ones with them just so I can learn the lay of the land to enjoy my stay in the land. And they have a great respect for the office of the superintendent. But I tell them, hey, I'm here to serve. And so what I mean by that is, as, if we're cleaning, then we're all cleaning. I'm not just saying, hey, you go do that, you go move that. I'm rolling up my sleeves. I'm in it with you. And I think that people don't mind following you and giving you their all when they know that you're in it with them. So the law of buy-in that John Maxwell shares and other leadership leaders, I have bought into that, and it opens up, and we're hoping to have that trickle-down effect throughout the entire Jefferson School District and even to our community, and let them know, hey, we are doing the best that we can with what we have for the best that you give us, your children. Let's work together and not against one another for the success of our children.
Well, we're going to talk more about philosophy, and I know you're getting ahead of yourself. People still want to know about you. They still want to know a little bit more about you. So you did the teacher thing. Then you start doing the principal. Did you start out as an assistant principal?
No. So interestingly enough,
really?
I hopped from the classroom to being the director of elementary instruction. So I hopped from the classroom to the central office, then went back to the building. So I think one of the most
so you went to the admin building, and
straight from the classroom.
Now what prompted that? Was that something you sought out, or was that something that
was something that was sought out for me? Actually,
sought out for you.
And
okay,
that was the opportunity that presented itself.
Okay, so what was it about that about you? Do you think is the reason that they sought you out?
Well, I think for any leader that people want to follow someone who is competent, people want to follow someone who has character, people want to follow someone who is charismatic, and people want to follow someone who actually just care. And so in that particular community, I guess I exhibited those qualities, and I was known throughout the community. And so you want a good face to your brand, and I was just selected as that face. I was one of many.
So where was that?
That at the time it was a school district. It shall remain nameless, but a school district in southeastern Michigan. It was a public school district, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time there.
Okay, all right.
Thoroughly.
So was there anything specific about the curriculum that sort of that made you say, hey, yeah, I would love to do this?
So one of the things that we were able to do with that, and I think that leadership, I think that every interaction is an interview. Mm-hmm. So, if people are just preparing for a moment, you have to understand you're surrounded by moments. You just have to make the most of them, and people will see it. So with that in mind, there was a program that we were crafting, a leadership academy, like a cohort for students that we wanted to funnel this elementary cohort into a middle school connected cohort and to a dual degree program that we had at the high school. Okay. So I was very instrumental in the launch of that program, even having traveled to New York to see the model of the person who we named the program after and spent some days there and all these sorts of things. So although I did not have the official title at the time of the director of the program, I definitely was instrumental in the launch of the program, then became director of the program officially, and then it went on from there. So I had the opportunity, and this was still while I was a classroom teacher, before I went into administration.
Wow. So and you did that for a short period of time?
Did that for a short period of time.
And then you went into is that kind of the thing that made you go, hey man, maybe being a principal or an assistant principal might be right up my alley? No,
Jeff, it was reorganization, and so it was reorganization, and we had a small district. It's like, okay, this is where you're going because this is where the need is, and that's fine. I think what I've enjoyed most about being an administrator is that I have been principal of 3 different middle schools in 3 different counties. Oh, that has been fun, because middle school, that's a whole ball of emotions with young people and all these sorts of things. So that's fun.
Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah. Well, that's a fascinating story. So you do the principal thing for about how long were you principal and all together?
For maybe about 9 years, then 3 years in central office, including the beginning part, the end part, and then now the superintendency.
Gotcha. All right. Well, that's pretty cool. So now what I'd like to do, if you can stick around for a minute, I'd like to, I got to take a break. And then when we come back, I'd like to talk about your philosophy as it relates specifically to Jefferson.
Good deal.
Sound good?
All right.
All right. Back right after this.
Hi, this is John Allen with Allen Chevrolet Cadillac. Just wanted to thank everybody for voting us three-peat. Best of the best for Monroe County for best overall dealership. We wanted to talk about some of our specials. We offer the Allen Care Package. When you purchase a new vehicle with the Allen Care Package, it comes with half-off oil changes for life, and a $1,000 insurance deductible waiver, paint and fabric protection for the interior and exterior, and 3M door guards. That's just some of the great things that we offer at Allen Chevrolet Cadillac.
And welcome back. If you're just joining us, I am here with Nelson Henry. Nelson, you are the superintendent, the new superintendent at Jefferson Schools, and we talked a little bit before the break about how you got to where you are right now.
Yes.
And now I'd like to talk a little bit about your philosophy as it relates specifically to the Jefferson School District. Tell me a little bit, in a nutshell, what do you hope to accomplish as the superintendent right here?
Definitely. Well, one, I'm honored and humbled, Jeff, to be superintendent of Jefferson Schools, and specifically to be the first African American superintendent in the school district's history. That is phenomenal. And once we get past that wonderful celebration,
right.
we have work to do for children, and
absolutely.
That's why I am here. And so with that in mind, some of the things that I've been talking to the board about, to community members about, to staff members about, is that we have three big ideas. Those ideas are of academics, athletics, and the arts. We want to be the destination spot in Monroe County for academics, athletics, and the arts. Jefferson Schools has a rich history in athletics. It was the place to be, I understand, years ago, and it's not there now. And so what we have done is our mantra is restore the roar. You're going to see that on all of our print material. We see it.
Who came up with that? Did you come up with that?
I came up with that.
That's awesome,
but it's
man.
catching on, Jeff. It's catching on, man. So so I would talk to a parent, and I'm gonna kind of throw this out and then circle back to the philosophy. Or we're talking to a parent or a staff member who's considering leaving. This is not the time to do it.
Right.
And so, my appeal to them, and my appeal has been to parents. I've been talking to parents, I've been talking to staff members to give change a chance. Give change a chance. We have been working feverishly for the first 6 weeks that I've been here. I have a great team who's working with me, who's embraced me and what we're doing, internal changes and external changes, just to give change a chance and then to help us restore the roar. So that roar has to do with academics. I was honored to be at my first graduation as superintendent last Wednesday night on June 1st, and it was wonderful. But we want to have even more graduates, and not just graduates of high school, but graduates who are either college ready, trade school prepared, CTE, career and technical education trained. So we want to make sure that they have options and avenues to go into so you graduated from high school.
Yeah.
Now what? You have to positively contribute to society. And we've got to make sure we do that in education. And rethinking my thought process, and I tell them all the time, you're not going to put us in a box. The box is only good for us to stand on so we can see further. That's it. So if I stand on the box, I'm 6'4", I'll be about 6'7", 6'8", and that's it. That's all the box is for. It is to help us see further. And so I've been in contact with some of everybody in 6 weeks. I have been the broker. I have talked to everyone from a grandmother who emailed me today who said, "Oh my God, thank you so much for your video. I wouldn't have known the previous superintendents if I tripped over them," to the president of Monroe County Community College.
That's a good guy to get to know.
We're looking, he's a good guy, and other partners, we're looking to do faith-based things, because in order to have a vibrant community and society, we need, and you know this, we need a vibrant economic system, a vibrant and supportive faith-based organization, and a stable education system. And we're looking to do that. And so those are some of the pieces that tie into that philosophy.
So, okay. So, and I like that, because you know what? I got to tell you, my sort of impression, I'm 55 years old. I graduated high school in 1985. And when I went to high school, we had a very robust shop classes. We had wood shop, you had metals, you had welding, we had all of that stuff, and arts. Tons of artistic endeavors that we did, and we'd have arts. The students in the arts would have paintings and everything all over the place. We did school plays. We did the whole ball of wax. We did all of that stuff, and the academics obviously were a focus. I've gotten this distinct impression that we have moved so far away from the technical training, from the occupational training, in the education, just generally speaking, since I went to high school. And it concerns me a little bit, and I think it's left a glut in those areas. I met a gentleman a few years back. He was a labor leader, a union leader, and he said that the biggest problem they had was trying to get guys that could do these jobs. They didn't have anybody that was trained to do any of these jobs because that stuff was left at the wayside in high schools because it was all about getting ready for college. And so you had all these people going to college, getting these degrees in philosophy and political science that they could do nothing with. And nobody that knew anything about how to become an electrician or how to become a carpenter. None of that stuff. So have you noticed a similar problem with academics as in your experience in the 24 years that you've been involved in it? And if so, what do you think can be done at Jefferson to change that?
So I want to shock the system a little bit, Jeff.
Sounds good to me. I think it needs a little shocking.
That's what we want to do. First of all, we have gotten our society has become so convoluted that we don't let children be children. One of the reasons why I left my office today from, being the CEO of a multi-million-dollar school district, I left my office and went outside to field day because I wanted to see children being children without the weight of the world being on their shoulders and without them having to be big brothers and big sisters and getting people dressed and getting them out the door and all these sorts of things to school. Just be a child. Just run around, just laugh, just have us tell you to sit down and you act like you didn't hear us the first time we got to tell you, be a child. Just be a child, first of all. Okay, so with that in mind then, what we want to do, we want to create, to get back to your question directly, we want to create an atmosphere and an expectation in Jefferson schools that every student is connected to something in addition to the classroom. I have done this somewhere else as a principal. We didn't have 100% of the students, but we had about 80% of the students connected to something in addition to the classroom. Athletics, some kind of sports team, some kind of after-school program. Even if it's an academic after-school program, we have a wonderful quiz bowl team at the middle school and a debate team and all these sorts of things. So when we're talking about arts, we're talking about fine arts or visual arts or performing arts. And if we don't have it now, we will. It's a part of that 5-year strategic plan.
Gotcha.
Mark it here. It's going to come to pass. And so we want to get students back connected to that. And then as we're funneling this pipeline from kindergarten through 12th grade, getting you ready for your new real world, because your real world right now is learning, teaching and learning, but that real world and making sure that you're not just smart in your head, but you can use your hands. And so doing those career and technical trade skills and all those sorts of things. I'm a nerd. I'm a book nerd. If I could rewind my life, there are two things that I would have done in high school. One, I would have gone on that international trip to France that I did not go on, and I would have learned a trade in addition to, I was still on track to college, but I would have learned a trade as well, because it's guaranteed job security. And so we're looking to do that. We're looking to revamp our program. And I think that things that Jefferson Schools has now, I think that it's a good situation. I told them, though, when I came, I want to help move us from good to great. And we're going to stretch to that.
Absolutely. So you may be at least partly a nerd, but you're also an athlete too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And you took advantage of that when you were in high school. You were played
Definitely.
basketball,
So I played basketball,
right?
I played baseball. I played basketball up until my freshman year of high school, and then I got into school politics and wound up leading everything. And
did you?
Junior, sophomore class president, and junior class secretary, and senior
what a
class
surprise.
president.
There you
that
go.
whole little servant leadership thing. So this isn't new to me. But because of that, though, our three big ideas, once again, academics, athletics, and the arts. Academics are huge. And so one of the things I told the Jefferson community when I came, I said, when I first drove around the community before I ever interviewed with anybody, I saw the football field, and I'm like, this is a Friday night lights town.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the crowd is on Friday nights, but we got to make sure that this place is filled with everybody. I mean, I want grandma out there, grandpa, I want them sliding teeth in from their cup, sit next to their couch, no disrespect intended, but whatever, and just coming out there and just cheering on the community. And so it is our desire, our push to give them something to cheer for, not just on the field, but in the classrooms, debate halls, stages, and all those sorts of things. From the youngest child, from our Cub Care with the 3 and 4 year olds, up into our seniors from high school.
Plus, Nelson, I'm going to guess that you would like to see Monroe County Radio come out and do some play-by-play out there, right?
Yeah, we're here for it.
Yeah,
I hear this guy named Jeff is pretty good. He has that microphone voice.
I absolutely love doing it. Problem is, I usually do one game in Jefferson, and then because what we do is we try to do the meaningful games, and unfortunately, Jefferson just hasn't been playing both in I know in both football and basketball, which we do the play-by-play for both those, and unfortunately for Jefferson, just there hasn't been much there. So we're going to restore the roar, right?
If we restore the roar, you got to at least let me do like a quarter with you, a quarter, some plays. Not too much. I don't want your job. I want to go sit and eat nachos and hot dogs from our new concession stand. But
you can come in and do some color commentating. That'd be awesome. I love doing that stuff. Seriously though, I do, and a lot of times we have guys come in and they do that, and sometimes they're so good that I could probably just quit. Yeah, so you never know, man. You might have
I'm fine. Being servant leader and the superintendent.
All right, we'll see. You can give me a little break. No, I usually I do the play-by-play stuff.
A good substitute. Yeah, good substitutes in the education system. So it's like nothing's missing. Nothing's
right.
So.
I got a question. Speaking of that, substitutes. I know that like in my wife's school, they are really struggling to get any substitutes, not just good substitutes, any substitutes, and the education profession. I mean, you are exposed. You're automatically, especially elementary school. You know this. You're exposed to a lot of kids who have a lot of viruses, bacteria, and everything else, and you get sick yourself, especially young teachers. My wife used to get sick more. I couldn't believe how often she got sick when she first started teaching, and that was part of it. I mean, the kids are bringing these germs to school, and she's coming down with stuff, and so you got to have subs. And you guys haven't. Are you struggling with that?
It is a struggle. It is a struggle. So where there are kids, there are cooties. That's something I learned 24 years ago.
You go, right?
But besides that, I think the climate of our profession has certainly changed. The dynamics have changed, even with our students and even with families. But I would strongly. We also do not pay as well as we could, and I'm not just talking about Jefferson schools. I'm talking about the profession of education.
Sure. Yeah.
But I would encourage anyone who has the required amount of credits to go to EduStaff and fill out an application. I mean, it's definitely job security because we always need subs, and I think we have a good crew in Jefferson schools. I think the staff is a good staff. I don't think anyone gets into education because they're trying to get rich and because they don't like it. And
they're getting into it because they're like you, and I mean that because I know because my wife is very much like that. Is passionate about the profession, loves what she does, wouldn't change it for all the money in the world. That's not what drives her there, and so that's why I'm really glad to see somebody like you at the helm over at Jefferson. I think it's going to be an outstanding fit, and I'm really excited about spending more time with you and watching Jefferson really grow into what I think they could be.
Well, thank you. I'm glad to be there. To the staff, tomorrow's the last day of school. Enjoy your summer because come August we have work to do.
Lots of work. All right, Nelson Henry, thank you so much for being on the show. The new superintendent for the Bears over in Jefferson School Districts. Thank you so much for being on the show, and I wish you nothing but the best.
Thank you, Jeff. Help me restore that roar, sir.
You betcha. I certainly will. All right, that is all the time we have for this edition of This Is Our Town. Now we're going to turn it over to my good buddy Bob Vergils as he goes bobbing around Monroe. We'll see you next week. Take care, everybody.
Join us every Sunday at noon and Tuesday at 7 p.m. for another edition of This Is Our Town with Jeff Yorkey, a local public affairs presentation on MonroeCountyRadio.com. Brought to you by Allen Chevrolet Cadillac. All roads lead to Chevy.
This is our town, the place we call home.